Good evening, guys. Good evening. It's Jonathan Ribble. Thanks for joining me tonight. Looking forward to, just want to make sure that I've got the right, there we go, make sure that that's going and make sure that this is going as well. So make sure you can hear me okay. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Tonight I'm going to just go over some goals and the importance of, I've titled this The Strangest Secret. And I would just like to go over a few things with you. I'd like to talk to you about the strangest secret in the world. Not long ago, Dr. Albert Schweitzer, the great doctor and Nobel Prize winner, was being interviewed in London, and a reporter asked him, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, "People simply don't think." And it's about this that I want to talk with you. We live in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward to, dreamed of, and worked hard for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted, don't we? We in this world are particularly fortunate to live in the richest world that has ever existed on the face of the earth, a land of abundant opportunity for everyone. But do you know what happens? Let's take 100 people who start even at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what will happen to those men by the time they're 65? By the time they're 65, one will be rich, four will be financially independent, and 54 will still be working. Or the others are not even worth mentioning. They're no longer contributing members of society. Now think a moment. Out of 100, only 5 make the grade. Why do so many fail? What has happened to the sparkle that was there when they were 25? What's become of the dreams, the hopes, and the plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these people intended to do and what they had actually accomplished? When we say only 5% achieve success, we have to define what success is. And here's the definition. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. If a man is working towards a predetermined goal and knows where he's going, that man is a success. If he's not, he's a failure. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Rollo May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a beautiful book called Man's Search for Himself. And in this book, he says the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it's conformity. And there you have the trouble today. It's conformity. People acting like everyone else without knowing why, without knowing where they're going. Now think of it. In America right now, there are over 40 million people aged 65 years of age or and over, and only 13 million of these people and about 13 million of those 40 million are broke. They're dependent on someone else for life's necessities. Now we learn to read by the time we're 7. We learn to make a living by the time we're 25. Usually by that time we're not only making a living, we're supporting a family. And yet by the time we're 65, we haven't learned how to become financially independent in the richest world that has ever been known. Why? We conform. And the trouble is that we're acting like the wrong percentage group, the 95% who don't succeed. Now, why do these people conform? Well, they don't know, really. These people believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by exterior forces. They're outer-directed people. A survey was made one time that covered a lot of men, working men, and these men were asked this question: why do you work? Why do you get up in the morning? 19 out of 20 had no idea. If you ask them, they'll say everyone goes to work in the morning, and that's the reason they do it, because everyone else is going to work. Now let's get back to our definitions of success. Who succeeds? The only person who succeeds is the person who has progressively realization of a worthy ideal. If you're realizing something, then you're a success. A success is the school teacher who's teaching because that's what he or she wanted to do. The success is the woman who's a wife and a mother because she wanted to become a wife and a mother and is doing a good job of it. The success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that's what he wanted to do. The success is the successful salesperson who wants to become a top-notch salesperson and grow and build with his organization. A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined goal because that's what he or she decided to do deliberately, but only 1 out of 20 do that. That's why today there really isn't any competition unless we make it for ourselves. Instead of competing, all we have to do is create. Now, for 20 years, I looked for the key which would determine what would happen to a human being. Was there a key? I wanted to know, which would make the future a promise that we could foretell to an extent. Was there a key? If a person to a big person becoming successful, if he or she only knew about it and knew how to use it? Well, there is such a key, and I've found it. Would you like to know what it is? Have you ever wondered why so many men work so hard and earnestly without ever achieving anything in particular, and others don't seem to work hard and yet seem to get everything? They have the magic touch. You've heard them say about someone, everything he touches turns to gold. And have you noticed a man who becomes successful tends to continue to be successful? And on the other hand, have you ever noticed how a man who is a failure tends to continue to fail? It's because of goals. Some of us have them, some don't. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Now think of a ship leaving a harbor and think of it having a complete voyage mapped out and planned. The captain and crew know exactly where they're going and how long it will take. It has a definite goal. 9,999 times out of 10,000, it will get to where it started to go out to get. Now let's take another ship, just like the first. Let's not put a crew on it or a captain at the helm. Let's give it no aiming point, no goal, no destiny. Just start the engine and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, it'll either wind up on a beach some derelict or at sea adrift. Because it has no destination, no guidance. It's the same with a human being. Take the salesman, for example. There's no other person in the world today with a future of a good salesman. Selling is the world's highest paid profession, if we're good at it, and if we know where we're going. Every company needs top-notch salespeople, and they reward those people. The sky's the limit for them. But how many can you find? Someone once said the human race is fixed, not to prevent the strong from winning, but to prevent the weak from losing. The American economy, especially today, can be likened to a convoy of the war at the time of war. The entire economy is slowed down to protect its weakest link, just as the convoy had to go at the speed that would permit its slowest vessel to remain in formation. That's why it's so easy to make a living today. It takes no particular brains or talent to make a living and support a family today. So we have a plateau of so-called security, if that's what a person is looking for. But we do have to decide how high above this plateau we want to aim for. Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you, from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You will suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things that you want just seem to fall in line. And from now on, you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, worry, and fear, well, they'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success and failure. We become what we think about. Now, let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers, and prophets have agreed with one another, disagreed, and on many different things. It is on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. We become what we think about. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. He said, a man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Disraeli said this, everything comes to a man if he would only wait. I have taught myself by long meditation to the conviction that a human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it, and that nothing can resist a will that will stake even existence for its fulfillment. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this: a man is what he thinks about all day long. William James said the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of life, of mind. And he also said, we need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question was real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real. It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief. He also said this: if you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly ascertain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things, and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly. In the Bible you read in Mark 9:23, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale said this: this is one of the greatest laws in the universe. Fervently do I wish that I had discovered it as a very young man. It dawned on me much later in life, and I found it to be one of the greatest, if not my greatest discovery outside of my relationship to God. And the great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you'll get negative results. And if you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. That is the simple fact, which has a basis of an astonishing law of prosperity and success in 3 words: believe and succeed. William Shakespeare put it this way: our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. George Bernard Shaw said, people are always blaming our circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. If they can't find them, they make them. Well, that's pretty apparent, isn't it? And every person who discovered this for a while believed that he was the first one to work it out. We become what we think about. Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it, because that's what he's thinking about, and we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety, fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. If his life becomes one of frustration, anxiety, and fear and worry, and if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing. Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer had some land, and it's good, fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now, remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land. Because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant, and it will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now, let's say that the farmer has 2 seeds in his hand. One, a seed of corn. The other, nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs 2 little holes in the earth and plants both seeds. One corn, the other nightshade. He covers up the holes, waters, and takes care of the land, and what will happen? Invariably, the land will return what is planted. As it is written in the Bible, as you sow, so shall you reap. Remember, the land doesn't care. It will return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn. So up comes the 2 plants, 1 corn and 1 poison. Now, the human mind is far more fertile, far more incredible and mysterious than the land, but it works the same way. It doesn't care what we plant: success and failure, concrete, worthwhile goal, or confusion, misunderstanding, fear, anxiety, and so on. But what we plant, it will return to us. You see, the human mind is the last great unexplored continent on the earth. It contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. It will return anything we want to plant. Now, you might say, but if that's true, why don't people use their minds more? Well, I think they figured out that was the answer to that, too. Our mind comes with standard equipment at birth. It's free, and the things that are given to us for nothing we place little value on. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox is exactly the reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our mind, our soul, our body, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends. All of these priceless possessions are free, but things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time. A good man can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He can do that several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it, but the things that we got for nothing, we can never replace. The human mind isn't used merely because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do only the kind of job, any job we assign to it. But generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big important ones. Universities have proved that most of us are operating on about 10% of our abilities. Decide now, what is it that you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It is the most important decision that you'll ever make in your entire life. Do you want to be an outstanding salesman, a better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company, in your community? All you've got to do is plant the seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily towards your goal, and it will become a reality. In fact, it not only will, there's no way that it cannot. You see, that's the law. Like the laws of Sir Isaac Newton, the law of gravity. If you get on top of a building and jump off, you'll always go down. You'll never go up. It's the same with the other laws of nature. They always work. They're inflexible. Think about your goal in a relaxed, positive way. Picture yourself in your mind's eye as however already have received and achieved your goal. You see yourself doing the things that you will be doing when you've reached your goal. Ours have been called the phenobarbital age, the age of ulcers and nervous breakdowns. At a time when medical research has raised us to a new plateau of good health and longevity, far too many of us worry ourselves into an early grave trying to cope with things in our own little personal ways without learning a few great laws that will take care of everything for us. These things will bring on ourselves, the things we bring on ourselves and our habitual way of thinking. Every one of us is a sum total of his own thoughts. He is where he is because that's exactly where he really wants to be, whether he'll admit it or not. Each of us must live off the fruit of our thoughts and the future, because what you think today and tomorrow, next month, or next year will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind. I remember one time I was driving through Arizona and I saw one of those big giant earth moving machines roaring down the road at about 35 miles an hour with what looked like 20 tons of dirt in it. A tremendous, incredible machine, and there was a little man perched way up at the top with a wheel in his hands guiding it. And as I drove along, I was struck by the similarity of the machine to the human mind. Just suppose you're sitting at the controls of such a vast source of energy. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch, or you're going to keep both hands firmly on the wheel and control and direct this power to a specific worthwhile purpose? It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. You see, the very law that gives us success is a two-edged sword. We must control our thinking. The same rule that can lead a man to a life of success, wealth, and happiness and all the things that he has ever dreamed of for himself and for his family, that very same law can lead him into the gutter. It's all in how he uses it, for good or for bad. This is the strangest secret in the world. Now, why do I say it's strange and why do I call it a secret? Actually, it isn't a secret at all. It was first promulgated by some of the earliest wise men, and it appears again and again throughout the Bible, but very few people who have learned it understand it. That's why it's strange, and why for some equally strange reason it virtually remains a secret. I believe that you could walk out and down any street of your town and ask any person what the secret of success is, and you couldn't run into one a man in a month that could tell you. Now, information is extremely valuable to us if we really understand it and apply it. It's valuable to us not only for our own lives, but the lives around us, our family, employees, associates, and friends. Life should be an exciting adventure. It should never be a bore. A man should live fully and be alive. He should be glad to get out of bed in the morning. He should be doing a job that he likes to do because he does it well. One time I heard Grove Patterson make a speech, the editor-in-chief of the Toledo Daily Blade, and he concluded his speech and said something that I've never forgotten. He said something like this: "My years in the newspaper business has convinced me of several things. Among them, the people are basically good, in that we came from someplace and we're going someplace. So we should make our time here an exciting adventure. The architect of the universe did not build a stairway leading nowhere. The greatest teacher of all, the carpenter from the plains of Galilee, gave us a secret time and time again. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. I've previously explained the strangest secret in the world and how it works. Now I want to explain how you can prove to yourself the enormous returns possible in your own life by putting this secret to a practical test. I want you to make a test that will last for 30 days. Now, it isn't going to be easy. If you give it a good try, it'll completely change your life for the better. Back in the 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton, the English mathematician and natural philosopher, gave us some natural laws of physics which apply as much to human beings as they do the movement of bodies in the universe. Now, one of those laws is that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Simply stated, it applies to you and me. It means that we can achieve nothing without paying the price. The results of your 30-day experiment will be in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. To be a doctor, you must pay the price of long years of difficult study. To be successful in selling, and remember that each of us succeeds to the extent of his ability to sell. Selling our families, our ideas, selling education in schools, selling our children in the advantages of living the good and honest life, selling our associates and employees on the importance of being exceptional people, true, of course, to the profession of selling itself. But to be successful in selling our way to the good life, we must be willing to pay the price. Now, what is the price? Well, it's many things. First, it's understanding emotionally, as well as intelligently, that we literally become what we think about. That we must control our thoughts if we are to control our lives. It's understanding fully that as you sow, so shall you reap. Secondly, it's cutting away all the fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It is rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. Thirdly, to use all of your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goals and of more possible angles, and to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible situations, to refuse to believe that there are any circumstances officially strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are, at this moment, standing in the middle of your own acre of diamonds, as Russell Cromwell used to point out. Fourth, save at least 10% of what you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities if you're willing to pay the price. Now let's just go over the important points on the price that each of us must pay to achieve that wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1, you become what you think about. 2, remember the word imagination. Let your mind soar. 3, courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4, save 10% of what you earn in action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now, I'll try to outline the 30-day test that I want you to make. Now, keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything that you could possibly want to gain. There are 2 things that may be said of anyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is that you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you would like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It can be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Write down on your card specifically what it is that you want. Make sure it is single goal and clearly defined. You need not show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up, and immediately you'll have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance that you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. As you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about. And since you're thinking about your goal, you must realize that it soon will be yours. In fact, it's really yours the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much a right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. And we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit. And new habits are not easily formed. Take that back. A habit does not take 21 days to create in your life. This is my commentary. A habit can be changed in 2.1 seconds. In 2.1 seconds, you can stop anything and you can start anything in 2.1 seconds. You know how you do it? It's with a decision, guys. A decision. Habits are easy to form. Good habits. Habit is God's way of making good automatic in your life. Remember that. Habit is God's way of making good automatic in your life. And everything that God wants to do, the devil wants to pervert. And we always think, when we hear the word habit, it's always about a bad habit. Well, we're doing a lot of things habitually right now that we didn't even have to think about. It just happened. Excuse me. So once formed, however, it will follow you the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. Then there will come times when you will feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% are successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think about only what you permit it to think. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintain a cheerful, positive outlook, give yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work towards, you are immediately a successful person. You are then in that rare and successful category of people who know where they're going. Out of every 100 people, you belong to the top 5. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord. Remember these words from the Sermon on the Mount. Remember them well. Keep them constantly before you this month of your test. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth. And to him that knocketh it shall be opened. It is as marvelous and as simple as that. In fact, it's so simple that our similarly complicated world, it's difficult for an adult to understand that all he needs is purpose and faith. For 30 days, do your best. If you're a salesman, go at it as you've never done before, not in hectic fashion, but with a calm, cheerful assurance that time well spent will give you the abundance in return that you deserve and want. If you're a homemaker, devote your 30-day test to complete giving of yourself without thinking about receiving anything in return, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes in your life. No matter what you do, no matter what your job, do it as you've never done it before for 30 days. And if you kept your goal before you every day, you'll wonder and marvel at this new life that you found. Dorothea Brand, outstanding editor and writer, discovered for herself and tells it about her in her book, Wake Up and Live. Her entire philosophy is reduced to the words, act as though it was impossible to fail. She made her own test with sincerity and faith, and her entire life was changed to one of the overwhelming success. Now, you make your test for 30 full days. Don't start your test until you've made up your mind and stick with it. You see, by being persistent, you're demonstrating faith. Persistence is simply another word for faith. If you don't have faith, you would never persist. If you should fail during the first 30 days, by that I mean suddenly finding yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you've got to start over there and that point and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. Don't forget the card. It's vitally important. As you begin this new way of thinking, on the one side of the card, write your goal, whatever it might be. On the other side, write the words, as we've quoted from the Sermon on the Mount. Ask, and it shall be given. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened. In your spare time during your test period, read books that will help you. Inspirational books like the Bible, Dorothy O'Brien's Wake Up and Live, The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and other books that instruct and inspire. Nothing great was ever accomplished without inspiration. See that during these critical first 30 days, your own inspiration is kept to the peak. Above all, don't worry. Worry brings fear, and fear is crippling. The only thing that can cause you to worry about your test is trying to do it all yourself. Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember also to keep calm and cheerful. Calm and cheerful. Don't let petty things annoy you, get you off course. Now, since making this test is difficult, some may say, why should I bother? Well, look at the alternative. No one wants to be a failure. No one wants to really live a mediocre life. No one wants a life of constantly filled with worry, fear, and frustration. Therefore, remember that you must reap with that which you sow. If you sow negative thoughts, your life will be filled with negative things. If you sow positive thoughts, your life will be cheerful, successful, and positive. Guys, it couldn't get any clearer. I just want to close out with whoever's on this call with me right now. And Lauren, thanks for being on here. Mary, I don't know if you guys are still on or not. If you have any comments or if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I just wanted to remind you all that if you set your goals, make a decision. That's where most people fail. They say, well, I'm going to try. There is no try. You make the decision. Write out on a card, I'm so happy and grateful now that. There's 6 steps in the chapter 3 on desire of Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Step 1 is write out the amount of money. Write out the kind of house. Be specific what you want. Write out a date by which you want to get it. Write down a service in which you're going to give in exchange for it. Write out a plan of how you're going to bring that service to the surface. And then write out a life statement of how you feel now that you've already got it. And then read it out loud twice daily. But if you carry this goal card for 30 days and you begin to look at it, and begin to write out your goals, and you begin to look at it, and you look at it, it becomes yours the moment you write it down. Guys, I'm living proof, if you keep focused on that which you want, it will come into your life. We got a couple comments. Let's take a look and see. Hello. I don't know who's out there because I'm on StreamYard, but it's good to see you guys tonight. But you guys, focus on what it is that you want. Goals are so important. Hey, Lauren. Good evening, Lauren. Goals are so important. Guys, all I did right now tonight was read an excerpt from The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. I encourage you to go out onto YouTube and read the book yourself. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. We become what we think about. It is that simple. If you think about nothing, you're going to become nothing. But I've always put it this way. If you work from success, you will never fail at anything in life. Doesn't that just make your heart sing that you don't ever have to fail again when you work from success? Know that you are a success right now. If you're breathing, you are successful. If your heart is beating, you are successful. So many times we're chasing after things. Ecclesiastes tells us that the chasing after things is like swatting after the wind. It's meaningless. It's vanity. It doesn't bring joy. I was just in a room with a guy that is a billionaire. His name is Giuseppe, and he's from Italy, and he came here with nothing. But yet he still tells you that money of itself, if he didn't have joy and peace in his life before he had the money, he'd be empty with the money. So having that worthwhile goal, I tell everybody, set a goal in your life that is so exhilarating that it excites you and it scares the hell out of you at the same time. One that's so in tune with your mental and spiritual core that you'll willingly dedicate all of your waking hours to its attainment so that you can say, I'm so grateful for this idea that used my life. You know, when David wrote in Psalm 42:3, he said, Psalm 40, verses 2 and 3, he said, I was in a miry pit. I was stuck in the muck and the mire, and I cried out unto the Lord, and he heard my cry, and he lifted me up out of this pit, and he set my feet upon a rock, and he gave me a firm place to stand, and he established my ways, and he put a new song in my heart. Lauren says, I live in my head and have fear of people, but I'm trying to push myself. But it is hard. Lauren, it's only hard if you think it is. It's only hard if you think it is. And in your head, you're dead. Get in your heart. Make a start from your heart, Lauren. There is so much, if you are a spiritual being with immense power, you have the ability to overcome anything. You're more than a conqueror, Lauren. That's what the Bible calls you. It tells you you're more than a conqueror. That means you're a conquering giant, which means you're more than that. You're more than a conqueror. Start declaring that over your life. I am more than a conqueror. Say it with me right now, Lauren. I am more than a conqueror. I am more than a conqueror. Say it till it starts to make you feel good. I am more than a conqueror. Type it out. Type it out, Lauren, so I know that you're saying it. Type it out. Put it in the comments. I am more than a conqueror. You got to start believing it as if it's already happened. There is no room for faith and fear to be in the same room. You can't do it. You can't even, you say, I trust God, but I'm afraid of men. You just have to say, I am more than a conqueror. Come on, Lauren, type it out. Type it out in the comments. I am more than a conqueror, so I can put it up on screen. Come on. Come on. I am more than a conqueror. Hello, come on. I am more than a conqueror. I want to see it here. I want to see it. Put it in the comments. If you're still there, Lauren, I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than a conqueror. It's a key like this. Here, I'll do it for you. I'm going to do it. I am more than a conqueror. I'll do it. Let's get this party started right. There we go. I think I spelled conqueror wrong. There you go. There you go, Lauren. There you go. I'm more than a conqueror. Change what you think about. Speak it out. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than a conqueror. Lauren, let me ask you this. Are you open to a coaching session right now on air? Are you open to a free session with me where we kind of talk to you about some of the things? I'll send you a link. You tell me if you are. I'll send you a link right now. I was going to close out, but I think you're here for a divine purpose. Lauren asked, all you got to do is, I'm throwing you a lifeline. I'm going to give you a lifeline. I'm going to send you a link. If you're not now. Okay. All right. Lauren, anytime. Reach out to me. But you are more than a conqueror, Lauren. You're more than a conqueror. You look back over your life and look at what you've been through and where you have gone. Where you have gone. What have you been through? I'm telling you, you'll see what I'm saying. You're more than a conqueror. So write out on your card, guys. Write out on your card, this is what I want. Stop focusing on what you don't want. And stop caring what other people think. You know, you only live this way but once. You only live this life once. And everybody else can want your time and attention. But I'm telling you what, they're not going to be there when you're dead. I guarantee you, they might be at your funeral, but after the funeral and after they've ate the stale ham sandwiches at your reception, they're going to be gone. And you're going to be stuck in the ground. And the same people that you were worried about what they thought, and if they didn't like me, and if they didn't accept me, they're going to be gone anyway after you're dead. So it's like they're not going to hang around your grave. They're not going to come back and visit because you're dead. So I always tell people, dead men don't wear pizza. Live. If I need you, I cannot lead you, and I want you in my life. I don't need you in my life. That's kind of the attitude I've got, because I've got goals to reach. I've got a life to lead. I've got people to help that want help. I've got lives to transform that want to be transformed. If you don't like me, you don't like me. I gave up caring about that a long time ago. Even Jesus said to his disciples, he said, after all the crowds left and everybody left, he said to the few that were left with him, do you want to leave too? Peter, I can so relate with this guy. Peter looks at him and says, are you kidding, Lord? To whom should we go? To whom should we go? You alone hold the words of life. And what you need to do is just keep holding out the word of life to people. Hold out those lifelines, Lauren. Do more than you're paid to do. You'll be paid more for what you do. Get rid of that fear. That fear is false evidence appearing real anyway. Just walk in faith and just stand strong on that idea that I am more than a conqueror. I'm a spiritual being with immense power. I can be more, have more, do more, and get more than I've ever thought possible in my life. And that, my friend, is the strangest secret. Controlling your thoughts, changing what you think about, change what you speak about, and you'll change what you bring about. So keep smiling, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope it helped. Have a great night.